that just is an entree into our understanding of the model and using the model around part whole analysis. That we see parts of the whole and they become more integrated, and we go deeper, and there's so the whole reveals other parts.
It changes
and further parts, and
yeah, that's why it could be never ending, really.
And the part whole process is never ending.
It's never ending. You're right.
It's a process.
You're right.
Can you say more about the circularity of the model and part whole?
Excuse me. The circularity of part whole, and the fact that it's a never-ending process, is because it's not linear. It doesn't go from A to B to C to D. It's constantly feeding back on itself, and it's we may not know whether the parts we have identified as parts we think our parts really are a part, but we'll find out soon enough. They're either demonstrated or not, and then the more the parts identify themselves, the more we start seeing the whole. At first, the whole is the character pathology part, the pseudo solution. That's the whole, which is important to be able to put together. It may take some time actually to be able to identify what that is. But this is the hidden part of the picture. And then later on, the gestalt and the whole could involve the emerging authenticity of the patient, quote, real self. That this is a emerging whole now, and it's we are seeing parts of it, parts of that emerging whole in different glimmerings of health as we can see them, and all this is much more easily tolerated by a patient, and creates less resistance. There still is, but a lot less.
A lot less.
A lot less.
Right.
And I think when you're working with part whole analysis on the more subtle levels, it allows you to see, sort of the micro-dissociations that patients make in any given moment more clearly.
Right.
Can you say more about that?
Well, when you're tracking phenomenologically about a statement and then another statement that maybe represents splits, you can also start paying attention to what happens in the room affectively, like when you lose them or they stare off into space and then come back. And simply by tracking the parts to the whole or tracking the splits, you can observe dissociative process in any given moment.
I see.
And the coming back.
Right, and coming back.
And then over time, with the trust, begin to gently comment on that. What just happened.
What just happened, right.
Which begins to raise something eventually into the patient's awareness.
Right, that was tacit, that was not known.
That's as close as we can get to the actual experience of the patient. The micro, what word did you use to identify as such? A micro.
You see the
splits,
the affective
the
rupture or just dissociating.
Dissociating. Micro-dissociation.
That's right. That's what you said.
Micro-dissociations for moment-to-moment dissociations, which is not something that we've that's sort of we read much about in the literature. I mean, moment-to-moment dissociations,
but they happen.
Dissociation is happening all the time.
All the time.
Either on a small scale or a grand scale.
But I think it's very helpful to really understand that dissociation happens all the time, that it's happening all the time. And that's another thing that the book.
And just to see those many ruptures occur, which is, I think just the whole shift to, and I think the field is shifting in this direction to be focusing more in the present moment. Listening, entry points, tracking. It just allows you to observe sort of the micro-disappearances,
Mhm.
because of some nerve that got hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we discover the past through discovering the present, so to speak.
Yes,
Exactly.
Rather
yes,
than
yes,
the other way
vice
around.
versa.
The other way around.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that is how it happens organically.
Yeah.
And that relates as much to using the transference,
Yeah.
in terms of discovering the past through the present in the room, in
Mhm.
the transference.